It's the youngest country in the world and the last to be discovered. New Zealand has rugged mountain ranges, rainforests, volcanoes, and look at this coastline. Amazing, and not your typical island nation. In fact, New Zealand was tailor-made for off-the-guidebook travelers. So let's throw those guidebooks and brochures out as I take you on a very special journey to see my hidden gems of New Zealand. There are very few places in the world where within 5 to 10 minutes of literally getting off your plane, you can go rafting, bungee jumping, hiking, biking, golfing, and harness racing. Now, I'm not talking about watching harness racing, I'm actually talking about actually going harness racing. I'm at a place called Horsepower in Christchurch. If you're like me and you like to go fast, up close, personal, down and dirty, then you gotta come here. Horsepower offers visitors a chance to live out their horse racing dreams on light two-wheeled one-horse carriages called sulkies. These little units can reach speeds of around 30 miles an hour. That's because the horses here aren't your run-of-the-mill fillies. They include championship record holders. The professional trainers at Horsepower will teach you how to handle a horse, but it's up to you to win the race. So I ask you, do I look like I know what I'm doing? Of course I don't, but I'm with Lindsay. Do you know what you're doing?
Do I look like I know what I'm doing, Peter? I bloody hope so.
Once you've learned the basics, it's time to test your mettle in an 800-meter race to the finish line. Just don't expect anyone to go easy on you.
I hate the bird!
Another place for you to check out is the International Antarctic Center in Christchurch, the training ground for Antarctic expeditions from around the world. That's because Christchurch is really the last stop for explorers headed to Antarctica. There you can get a taste of what being a polar explorer is all about through interactive exhibits and activities. There's an indoor polar room chilled to a breezy -5 degrees Celsius, or take a rough ride on the Hagland, an all-terrain Antarctic vehicle. It's the only ride of its kind in the world. In fact, the Hagland route simulates the same traveling conditions scientists would experience riding across the ice pack. While you're in Christchurch, you need to travel an hour and a half east to the very cool village of Akaroa. Akaroa sits inside the eroded crater of an extinct volcano called Banks Peninsula. This huge volcano created the harbors that attracted Maori settlers and later European whalers and sealers. Perhaps the best attraction of Akaroa is not the view that you get of the harbor, which is quite beautiful. It's the view you get once you're in the harbor. You come out here and you go sea-kayaking. You go right by the lighthouse here, and 1.5 miles away, the South Pacific, nothing but open ocean. Traveling through the North Island of New Zealand, one of my favorite stops is a little coastal city called Napier. Today, Napier is known for having one of the finest collections of Art Deco architecture in the world. But many travelers don't know the story behind these buildings. In 1931, the city was hit by an earthquake so devastating, it's still considered the greatest natural disaster in the country's history. The earthquake destroyed the commercial heart of the city, but survivors quickly bounced back, and by 1933, 108 buildings were actually completed, a construction feat. And guess what style was popular back then? You guessed it, Art Deco. One of the coolest ways to explore Napier's Art Deco neighborhoods is in this, a 1939 fully restored Packard. It cost you about $140 for the ride, but believe me, it's worth it except for one small minor detail, because when you're done, you'll want to buy the car. Can I buy this car?
No, sir.
I told you. People are always asking me my favorite places in the world, and I define it this way, by where I sleep the best. In my experience, there are only 3 of them. One I'm not going to tell you about. The second is Ireland, and the third, right here, the farm at Cape Kidnappers in Hawke's Bay, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It's a 6,000-acre working sheep and cattle farm. It's been here for about 60 years, the hotel for just about 3.5 years. It's not just a great place with a great view. It's a great view with a great place. One thing you hear about New Zealand is that there are more sheep than people. Hey, guess what? It's not a myth. There are about 10 sheep to every New Zealander. And if you want to get a taste of New Zealand's sheep farming tradition, then you got to go off the beaten path, literally, and visit Clifton Station. You'll get a first-hand look at how a ranch is really run. I'm here inside the wool shed at Clifton Station in Hawke's Bay. Anybody can come here. In fact, it's been here since 1886. And that's why they've been shearing sheep the old-fashioned way, using one of these hand shears. And let me tell you something, This is serious. Clifton offers wool and shearing demonstrations where you can watch ranchers at work using both traditional and modern methods of shearing. Better yet, if you want a really cool experience, you can ask to see sheepdogs demonstrate their skills. I bet your dog can't do that.
Good dog.
New Zealand is known for its natural beauty. It's hard not to find a photo op, but you might not think of visiting its great metropolitan cities. And the biggest city is the city of Auckland on the North Island. In fact, the city's landscape is dominated by 30 volcanic hills, twin harbors, bays, beaches, and islands. It's called the City of Sails because it's one of the best places for water sports in the country. Auckland also has some of the best fishing in the world with snapper, trevally, kahawai, john dory, and yellowtail kingfish in the nearby waters. When I first came to New Zealand, you know what the definition of sautéed was? It was deep fried. The food really wasn't very good. I mean, everything was fried. Well, it was unfortunate because there are over 270 different species of coastal fish in New Zealand. Well, guess what? Food's gotten better, restaurants have come of age, but I just don't go out to eat. I first come to the fish market. Hey, Mark Southern.
Hey, how you going? You all right?
And I meet Mark, the chef here. We're gonna actually pick our own fish. This is a very cool thing you can do, and anybody can do it. Wow, look at that. That's a big grouper, huh? So now what do we do?
So now we pick the fish.
Yep.
And now we get someone else to fill it.
So
for
you
us.
have approved this fish?
Yep.
All right.
This fish is A1.
And once you've made your selection, the staff will do the hard work. That's right, they prepare the fish for you. We're done.
That's it, easy as that.
Wow. Now that your fish is done, you can move on to my favorite part of the process, cooking everything up. And for that, you want to walk over to the food store in Auckland's Viaduct Harbor. So now comes the fun part, right? We got the fish at the market, the snapper. We brought it over here to the food store, which is your restaurant. Now we get to cook it. I really love the food store because it's New Zealand's first live food entertainment experience. The translation? You can watch New Zealand's best chefs at work on monitors throughout the restaurant. Wait, you forgot two things. A
Chips.
fork and a knife. Come on, let's go.
All right, let's try it.
Let's try it.
So that's beautiful.
That's nice.
Straight out the ocean, straight on the plate.
No, straight out of the ocean. Then we picked it at the market. Then we brought it here
Then
and
on
we
the
cooked
plate.
it. Then we put it on the plate. Actually, we didn't do it. You did it. But I got to watch. Cool. Many first-time visitors usually hop on board one of Auckland's high-speed ferries to explore the outer islands. But if you're a smart traveler, you'll get on one of these. It's called a Waka. Waka are double-hulled ocean-going canoes made from the wood of giant kauri trees. Now, you won't see any nails or bolts on any of these. The Maori don't use them. According to legend, the Polynesian settlers of New Zealand migrated to Aotearoa, that's the Maori name for New Zealand, in these large double-hulled waka. The art of making the waka was lost, but now a new generation is bringing that tradition back.
Because when our ancestors came here, they sailed backwards and forwards to the islands, but then as they realised how big Aotearoa was, there was no need to sail back, so the voyaging past got put away. Like it's like passing, the tradition's been passed down to a lot of our young people. Same with the sailing of this canoe and the crew and people, the guys that have been sailing it. And so it's a learning tool.
In fact, the waka is all about preserving tradition. But on islands off of Auckland, it's all about preserving the native flora and fauna of New Zealand's coastal forests. Like on Motuhei Island in the Hauraki Gulf near Auckland. This island is a recreation reserve and home to a project that is returning the island to its original state by replanting native plants and removing foreign pests. The project welcomes volunteers from around the world to take part in the restoration of this island. You can spend a day planting trees, removing weeds, or just helping out in the nursery. It's a great way to give back as you travel. For a more artistic experience, there's an artisan community in nearby Waiheke Island. It's here where you can visit artisans at Apex Studio, a family-based sculpture and jewelry studio that not only sells art, but here comes the fun part, it lets you make your own.
You're going to be making a puririhua. It's a piece of wood that you whirl around on a string, and it creates this woo, 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 woo sound. It's quite a few uses. One of them is to call in the rain. The other is to call lovers.
Oops, this is really bad. Of course, your success depends on your level of talent. You know what? The lover I'm going to summon with this is I don't want to see her. But even the artistically challenged, like me, can appreciate learning how to create traditional handicrafts and then finding out how to use them. Like this?
Yeah, so you're going to hear it start soon. Yep.
Now it's doing it. It just did. I'm hearing it. Hey. I'm not summoning anything except more exercise.
Here comes a lover now.
Should I look? I've been traveling to New Zealand since I'm 24, and I keep coming back. And every time I come back, I'm always surprised, not just by something new, but by something the locals know that's truly amazing, like Cape Kidnappers over here. I know you've heard the statement before that every trip is a voyage of discovery, but in the case of New Zealand, it's actually true. I'm Peter Greenberg. Thanks for watching.